Hi, I'm Brad from Canada. Let's talk Severance, Season 2, Episode 1. It's been a minute. Mark enters Lumen panicked with his newfound knowledge that his Audie's wife, Miss Casey, is alive. He runs the hallways in an attempt to find her, but discovers that the wellness center has been removed. Mark then goes to his regular station to discover a new MDR team waiting for him. Mr. Milchek arrives and brings Mark into his new office to bring him up to speed. 5 months have passed. Any Mark is told that Audie Mark and his team are somewhat celebrities and celebrated as heroes for discovering and highlighting poor conditions within Lumen by being shown a newspaper called the Kier Chronicles. Milchek says Miss Kobel/Selvig has been replaced with himself as Miss Kobel/Selvig had developed an erotic fixation with Mark S. Mark also discovers that his team has left, and despite Lumen's best efforts, they don't want to return. However, Mark S. is skeptical and wants to hear it from them.
I'd like to hear it from them.
Mr. Milchek's position has been filled by a Miss Wong, a person that seems extremely young to be where she is. Mark returns and is somewhat disturbed that he is now in charge of a new MDR team, Mark W., Gwendolyn Y., and an unnamed team member. He again expresses he wants his old team back. Mrs. Wong decides they should play a team-building game consisting of rolling a ball back and forth and telling each other about themselves. Miss Wong instantly isolates herself from the other team members.
I'm a supervisor, not a friend.
Annoyed, Mark goes to extremes to sabotage his current team and team members by writing a note posing as Mark W. He slips it in his jacket in an attempt to anger Mr. quote-unquote Milkshake. Mark S.'s plan is easily sussed out by Mr. Milchek, and Mark is called up on the table, and Mark W. is now put in charge of the team.
I accept.
Mark admits that perhaps this was not the best route to take and tricks Mr. Milchek and the entire other team to go check on something that he might have done in the kitchenette. Mark escapes and runs to Mr. Milchek's office where he plugs in the speaker to talk to the board, stating how much he wants his old team back. They are his friends and they can serve them. Mr. Milchek discovers Mark and escorts him to the elevator, in which where Mark thinks he's getting fired. Mark is able to return the next day, and as he gets off the elevator, he sees a very curious painting. The elevator door dings and Dylan exits. Then Irving, who is still in the state of trying to get Bert's attention. Very distraught, Helly enters from another elevator, and they are all reunited trying to figure out what is going on. Mr. Milchek gathers the old team and takes them to a brand new break room that is completed with a fancy new projector. They all sit down to watch a very childish new video that Lumen has produced that praises all the innies, Mark, Helly, Dylan, and Irving, for their actions, including many new perks from the Macrodata uprising, including new snacks and no cameras or microphones within the facilities. Mr. Milchek states that although he respects them all, if they want to leave Lumen, they can just leave. They will not be held responsible for any of their actions, and they have till the end of the day to decide. Mark and the team sit down face to face and to go over what they saw in their Audie form. Mark says that he was at his brother-in-law Rick and Hale's, and Miss Casey is his Audie's dead wife, so she must be there in the building somewhere. When it's Helly's turn, she says that she lives in a very lackluster apartment, and she was just sitting around in sweatpants and a t-shirt. However, Irving is suspicious, as she states she talked to a night gardener. Irving declines to speak of his experience as too painful, and he states,
It's not our world up there.
As they're leaving, Mark and Helly talk about Mark and his wife's relationship, and Mark decides that he needs to get Miss Casey out of there. We're still married. Helly states that innies don't own their Audies anything. They're different people. But she will stay on with the team to help Mark figure out what is going on. Irving attempts to leave and never return. He just can't do it anymore. The pain of his love for Bert is just too much, and he doesn't want to be a part of this anymore. Dylan tells him to stay, and Irving tells Dylan about the dozens of black hallway paintings he did in his Audie's life. With an odd show of humanity, Dylan tries to stop him by stating that the only reason Dylan is as good as he is because of Irving. Milchek privately invites Dylan to view plans for a new wing of Lumen, which will allow innies to visit with their Audie's family. As a show of good faith, Milchek tells Dylan that his Audie's wife is named Gretchen. Dylan is asked to keep this quiet as the other members of his team are single and they may become jealous. Mark's crew decides to stay and stick together in an attempt to figure out exactly what's going on. all together again. We end with Mark doing his coding and a flash of Miss Casey in some kind of bizarre sequence flashes, ending the episode. Thanks for joining, everybody. We'll see you in a week.